Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So as promised, I told you I would post a YouTube video with a little bit of more information about persuasion and me kind of talking you through it versus you just reading it on your own. So here we go. So persuasion. The first thing I need you to know about persuasion is persuasion has a couple of different aspects. It's not just about changing people's beliefs. It can also simply be reinforcing people's beliefs. That's part of persuasion. Those of you who zoomed in, I already kind of talked about how persuasion is everywhere. Right now, the biggest persuasion is for all of us to stay home. So persuasion actually wants us to do something. There's a few different goals for persuasion, and that's kind of what we talked about. And this is where your discussion questions come into play. As a persuasive speaker, I could ask you to change someone's attitudes, to either like or dislike something, to change your belief. In other words, to believe that something is true or false. By the way, beliefs is not limited to religion. A lot of people think it is, but it's not. And then a behavior, things that we do. Behaviors are lots of different things, whether they're eating habits, voting, donating blood. We all have behaviors, and we can actually persuade someone to behave in a certain way. So also really important, that little note down there at the bottom, please realize whenever you're practicing persuasion, you're never going to persuade everyone. So we always talk about what's called a target audience. So you always want to kind of have an intended audience you want to persuade to. This talks about 3 different types of audiences. This is always really important to know when going into persuasion, and that some people are going to be neutral. Neutral audiences, by the way, are my absolute favorite. If someone's neutral, it means they don't know what they believe. They don't know if they're for your topic, against your topic. And so if you do your job right, you will actually be able to persuade them to your side of the fence or your side of the argument. Receptive just means that they already agree with you, and disagreeing, also referred to as a hostile audience. Your hostile audience are those people who don't agree with you, and that's okay. And you don't even have to persuade them. You just need to also be aware that you might have a disagreeing or hostile audience sometimes. Okay, so this is what we talked to, or actually this is kind of an addition to your discussion questions. There's different types of persuasion out there. We can persuade someone a policy. Again, there's the facts. Those are the same as beliefs. Values are things that are good or bad, right or wrong, and behaviors. So again, just kind of illustrating that we have different types of persuasive speeches. I didn't ask you for a policy example, but policies don't have to just be political policies. They can also be local policies as well. Proposition statements. This is probably where I'm getting the most questions in some questions online and emails. So here's the thing. All a proposition statement is your side of the argument. So are you for donating blood, or are you against donating blood? Are you for recycling? Are you against recycling? You have to know what side of the argument you're on. You are not going to persuade for both sides of the argument. You're going to take a stance. So your proposition statement is basically one sentence to your audience, letting them know what you want to argue for, or what it is that you're arguing for. So I could literally say, all people should donate blood. Then obviously my speech is about donating blood. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So I give you lots of examples here. All students should be required to take a foreign language class. Obviously, you know by that statement, I am for or pro foreign language class. Organic food is better for the environment. You know that I'm going to persuade you that our organic food is good. Diet and exercise are healthy. Again, I'm going to persuade for exercise. Reality TV should be banned. I feel like I should change that to The Bachelor should be banned, but that's just me being silly. Notice that all of these are statements. They are not questions, and they all let you know exactly what side of the argument I'm on. You all will choose a topic. I want you to choose your topic first, and then once you have your topic, you should know what you want to argue, and then it becomes very easy to write your own proposition statement. For the discussion question, I'm just asking you to write proposition statements about general topics that you've thought about. So it does not have to be your actual speech. Okay, so here are some persuasive strategies. The first thing are ethos, logos, and pathos. This is historical. This is like the traditional way that they used to persuade speeches. And basically, even though those terms are kind of very historical, the point is that you need to be a credible speaker, you need to have some research, and you need to have emotion. That's really what that comes down to. And if you watch the video in the link here, the video gives you a really good description of each of those. So watch the video. Ways to organize your speeches. So this is basically going to come after the fact, after you choose your topic, but I wanted to already get you thinking about it. So some speeches automatically fall under a problem. So like air pollution is a problem. Gang violence is a problem. Plastic water bottle or plastic consumption is a problem. So if you can kind of highlight your speech as a problem, then you would basically organize it by first talking about like your first main point. A will be the problem. B becomes the cause and effects, and your C will become the best solution. So this is kind of thinking about how you organize the body of your speech. And I'll post some samples online later. Topical just basically means, nope, Stacey, my speech is definitely not a problem. And I just want to talk about something and persuade people. So I think I already shared with you guys, I had a student that had a persuasive speech on Scott Peterson and how he was innocent. He is a person accused of killing his wife. That's not a problem. It would be like, hey, here's some evidence why he is not guilty. And you can organize those in 3 different main points. I give you an option here of electric cars, and the points all have to do with electric cars, but they're all different topics, all to persuade you for electric cars. So that's the other organizational pattern. Here's just some final tips. These were just to kind of help you know that they can help you to be more persuasive. Use good examples, use good research. If you have a hostile audience, mean they don't agree with you, you got to make sure you start with a really strong argument. The third bullet, don't hide key arguments. Don't try to trick your audience. Some people think that they're persuasive if they trick you, but once your audience finds out you tried to trick them, then you're no longer credible and you're no longer persuasive. You all in your outlines, you'll actually be telling your audience, now that they know this information, what do you want them to do? Again, use research, use emotion, use visuals. These are just some things to kind of help you out with persuasion. So again, that's just me kind of going over. I wasn't trying to read it to you directly. I was just trying to kind of flesh out really that there's different types of persuasive speeches. They're not all the same. It depends on what your topic is. If you have an idea for your topic, I can kind of help you find out what type of persuasion speech that is. And then again, all of you will be taking a stance. And once you take that stance, that will help us to write your proposition statement. So this is just the basics. Don't worry. We have all the rest of the semester to flesh out persuasion, to choose topics, to do good research. We'll talk about research next week because research is extremely important with persuasion. We don't want to just be opinion-based. And then we'll get to writing those speeches. So I hope this helped, and I will talk to you all soon.